My guest today is Amick Byram. He's a successful solo recording artist, as well as a two-time Grammy nominee and an Emmy-nominated performer. Amick sang the role of Moses in the animated feature film Prince of Egypt and hundreds of other films, television programs, and commercials. And on Broadway, cast several albums. Amick is the president of Oodles Entertainment, a company focusing on producing films, animation and music for the whole family, and you're also a friend of my grandfather, is that right?
Yes, I am, proudly so.
So,
yeah.
Amick, we're so glad you're here today. You're going to be singing for us in a minute, but I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about your life as an entertainer. I mean, first of all, you were in Star Trek.
That's right.
Cool. And the Star
Anybody
Trek
bring any
Next
trading
Generation.
cards?
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, you've done some pretty cool things in your career as an entertainer, but you're pretty open about your faith, and it's an important part of your life, even in the world of entertainment, music, acting, and all that. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I was raised in a Christian home. My dad's a pastor, and I knew all along that God had given me some gifts, and I also knew that I was to use those gifts for His glory.
Yeah.
And whether those gifts are used for His glory in the church or in the general marketplace, I felt called that my ministry was supposed to be kind of in show business. Well, in show business.
Yeah.
And so I ventured out here from Oklahoma years ago and just trusted the Lord. And the Lord has been very, very gracious to me and has allowed me to have somewhat of an impact in multiple spheres of the entertainment business. But I give God all the praise and all the glory, because even though He's given me some gifts, it is always God who offers the opportunities and actually just drops things in your lap as a possibility.
Is that kind of how your career sort of took off? I mean, did it just feel like God was dropping these things in your lap? Or?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of work.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
always a lot of work. And a lot of disappointments, too, along the way.
Yeah.
But I really felt all along that God had really called me into this business. Yeah. And slowly but surely, I started to get work and have some sort of an impact in the recording business and as an actor. And so I think the key thing is really, obviously, just trusting the Lord constantly. And in this business, it's hard because you're dealing with, gifts and talents and egos, and it's a tough business. But trusting the Lord makes all the difference in the world.
And of course, like you said, in your industry, it can be a challenge when you're kind of open about your faith, and when you won't make certain compromises because of whatever principles. And this is something like everybody deals with, right? Unless you're in ministry, right? I mean, most people who are working day to day, very often, their Christian faith, if you're open about what you believe, or your boss wants you to bend certain rules and you're not willing to do it, it can actually be really hard on your career.
It can be, and I've experienced that. I've experienced situations where I've had to turn down work for just conscience reasons, conscience that is hopefully driven by God's purposes. And at the time, it's difficult because work is hard to get,
Yeah.
And but when I did, I always found that the Lord blessed that decision, even though it was a struggle to make that decision.
Yeah.
And but the way that you have an opportunity to minister to people is oftentimes by the excellence that you have, and that takes a lot of training and a lot of commitment and hard work. But it's excellence that actually opens the door for people to hear the gospel, particularly in that business, because that's what's highly regarded and highly respected. And if you have excellence at what you do, people will, it gives you a platform and it gives you an opportunity to share your faith.
Obviously, you have some inner strength to be able to navigate through criticism, through slander, through misunderstandings about who you are as a person. I mean, everybody's going to struggle with that. But what kind of advice can you give us when, like in daily life, when you get a bad email or something like that? I mean, what have you learned in this industry that you can?
I think it's the best advice is go back to what your life is founded upon. If your life is founded upon your salvation in Jesus Christ, always go to that rock. Always go to that foundation, even though you have been mistreated, even though you have been denied because of your faith. always go to that foundation. And that's probably the best advice, and that it doesn't necessarily, I mean, it certainly helps, and it allows God the opportunity to do something else that you did not anticipate because of your struggle.
And of course, even in the midst of your entertainment, you've been really creative. Tell us about the Oodles world. What is that?
Oh, well, you know, I started out in the business, you know, singing and acting, and I'm still doing all those things, but I also got a business degree. And so I was kind of like, I have this right brain, left brain thing going all the time. And I've always been, even since a small boy, just curious to know why things work and how they work. And so, you know, 15, 20 years ago, I started being presented opportunities to do things that were outside of, or at least in concert with, performing. And that has led to some producing. I produced some theater in New York. I've produced recordings. I have done a lot that kind of stuff that's a little more business oriented. And so now, about 5 years ago, I was asked to be the president of Oodles World, which is a company that produces faith and family products for the marketplace. And we're now opening a branch called Oodles Entertainment.
Yeah, great.
And we're opening an office here in Los Angeles. And we're going to be producing movies and television shows, which I'm thrilled about. That's the world I've been living in my whole career. And it's something I know very well. And we're very, very excited about our properties. And they will be redemptive products for the faith and family marketplace, but also with a redemptive thread in them.
Yeah, great. Well, Amick, we're so glad that you're here with us today, and we're going to get a chance to hear from Amick today. So you're going to be singing for us this morning?
Yeah, I am.
And we're so glad we can actually see how fantastic a singer he is. And,
Go on.
And, so, Amick, we're so glad. Let's give him a hand and welcome him again. Thank you so much, Amick.
Thanks, Robert.
God bless you.